Hey, Loco sports fans, Justin Jarrett, flying solo for the moment. Wes is out sick. We got lots of friends coming by tonight, though, who should be by in some semblance of order. We'll see what happens, but we're rounding up scores for you. I do have a few for you at the top. Apologize for my wrestling coach voice. Again, Wes down sick tonight. He had to stay home and was feeling down and needed to catch up on some rest. So wish him well, and hopefully he'll be back with us on Sunday night. But we will have some pals stopping by to talk hoops with us tonight, including hopefully the guys from Buford's Zone, possibly Nate Livesey, possibly Jimmy Searson, who was at Carleton Prep. Marcus Walsh will definitely be popping in. He was at Hilton Head High for the Seahawks against the Bobcats. But we got some scores. Lucy Beckham girls 55-32 over May River, and the boys, Lucy Beckham wins 57-38. So loss for the Sharks there after their nice run of three straight wins. Beaufort girls beat Battery Creek 35-34. That was a wild finish. Crosby with a free throw at the end to get the win for the Eagles. And we will talk with the Buford Zone fellas about that one. I was over at JP2. Hilton Head Christian girls won 69-50. That game was competitive for much of the night, and I've got some video, and if I get some friends in here to talk, I can work on editing it perhaps. But HHCA 69-50. Devin Yard really took that game over in the fourth quarter. She had 31. Maya Hutchinson had 27. That was really the big issue for JP2. They just couldn't stay in front of those two. And they wrought havoc, combined for 58 points. Yard had 8 and at least 5 or 6 assists in the fourth quarter as they pulled away. It was a single-digit game going to the fourth, but HHCA kind of put the hammer down in the fourth quarter. HHCA boys also won over JP2. We're looking for the final now. It was going down to the wire, 56-49. I had to bail with a couple minutes left to get back here, but 56-49. That was actually a really good win for Hilton Head Christian because they were way shorthanded. Caden Turner was not with the team, and then Dylan Sampson was on the bench in street clothes. Harry Skinner was out sick, and they really just didn't have much to roll out there. Connor White came back from the school musical and rejoined the team after he really wasn't going to play because he was the only guy they had eligible that they could call on. Alex Epstein gave a ton of good minutes. I mean, he played almost the whole game and played really well in the backcourt as well. Ethan Foster. So young guys really stepped up, and then Elijah White really carried them down the stretch. Isaiah Anderson early, Elijah White late. And Isaiah, I think, got sick during the game too. So, I mean, they were really banged up and just a skeleton crew, and gave one of their better efforts that we've seen from them in a while. So really good win for HHCA, and I know they're feeling good about that one. Still looking for some other scores. I did see one come through from our guy Zoe Allen on Twitter. Whale Branch beats Bethune-Bowman boys 43-40. That is a huge win for Whale Branch to keep pace. And in fact, I think with Bowman losing to Bridges the other night, I think that puts Whale Branch in first place in that region, which I've been a Whale Branch truther all year. I believe that team's going to be tough to beat down the stretch. They're just Faber ball is tough in the postseason. Still looking for more scores. So if you have scores, hit us with them in the comments because I don't have a lot to talk about until we get more scores and more friends in here. But let's look for scores in the comments. Let's look on the Max Preps, shall we? Sorry, folks. Coming in hot tonight from JP2, and Wes Kerr, the usual co-host, is down sick tonight, so we're trying to find some scores while we wait for friends to come by and talk hoops with us on the Lowco Hoops Report. Bluffton girls win 51-35 over Hilton Head, so the Bobcats keep rolling, and that puts them at 6-0 in region play, and they are now 18-1 overall. So Bluffton has won 14 straight. We had Takoya Hayward last night on the Lowco Sports Lowdown. Lucy Beckham just a game behind them at 5-1. James Island sits at 2-2 after they beat Colleton County 57-35 tonight. So then you got Hilton Head and May River each at 1-4, and Colleton County at 0-4. So the Bobcats looking good there, but they're going to have another showdown with Lucy Beckham coming up here in a few days. Let me see here. This is a stream of consciousness rambling on live programming right now, folks. You're going inside my brain in the process. Bobcats have Lucy Beckham at home on Tuesday. So that's a really big game for Bluffton and for Lucy Beckham. That's probably the biggest hurdle between them and another region title. Looking for some more scores. I know that Beaufort Battery Creek game was about to go final 51-41 Beaufort in that one. And in fact, we'll see if Nate Livesey wants to come and talk some hoops with us if he's around. And got a report from Marcus, who's on his way. 60-42 Hilton Head boys knock off Bluffton. That's a big win for them. Inside and out. Yeah, we'll get a full breakdown from Marcus, but Tajay Wright was their player of the game. He's been really good of late. Daniel Godson and oh wait, what? Godson, he was at the JP2 game. So Daniel Godson apparently did color commentary on WHHI for the girls game, and then was at JP2 coaching the boys game. So my man is running around about as much as me. So there's a couple more scores for you. We'll shout out some sponsors while we're here. This show presented by our MVP sponsors, starting with Megan Jarrett, my wife and the official realtor of Lowco Sports, now with Anchor Home Group of the Keller Williams of the Lowcountry, and she would love to help you find your place in the Lowco and put down an anchor in the best place. So call on Megan Jarrett, official realtor of Lowco Sports. And then we've got Homegrown Home Inspections. My man Jan Lucas and his team are the best home inspectors in the Lowco, and you're going to want to call on them whether you're building a new home or buying a resale. You're going to want to call on them to make sure it is a great investment and it's built the right way. Homegrown Home Inspections. And then Mickelson Law Firm. Saw the Mickle squad out at the games tonight. Ryan and Tiffany are original sponsors since 2017, still supporting us today. So we appreciate them, and they're the official real estate closing attorneys of Lowco Sports. And Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, one of our favorite local charities, providing so many great services across the Lowcountry, including hospice care, palliative care, and free grief counseling. And you can check out an interview with their incredible CEO, James Dismond, on our new podcast on the Lowco Media Network, Interesting Minds of the Lowcountry, with my friends Angela Huser and Will Savage hosting. And that's a good show. You should check it out. But those are our MVP sponsors. I'm told it's also senior night at Bluffton on Tuesday. Big night. Big night always. Takoya will probably be up for a big night. And there's a bunch of seniors on that girls team that will want to show up. But we do have a Nate Livesey joining us now from fresh off the Beaufort Battery Creek games. What's going on, Big Nate?
Hey, Justin. How are you, man?
Doing all right. You were over at Beaufort Battery Creek, and we may or may not get the Beaufort's own guys tonight. I know it wrapped up a little late, so love to get your insight on that. I know Beaufort won to Donnybrook in the girls' game with a free throw at the end, and then Beaufort was able to pull away kind of in the second half of the guys' game, it sounded like.
Yeah, the girls' game actually was a wild ending. Beaufort was in control, virtually the whole game, and then gave up a 9-point lead late and had to rally to win at the end. So big win for the Beaufort girls. They were super excited about getting that W. And then the boys' game was a slugfest. It was just like you said. Beaufort was really in control for most of the game. They took the lead early. Samari Bonds hit 2 threes in the first couple of minutes, and they were up 7 early. And then Creek got back in the game. It was just a couple of possession games at halftime. And then Creek was able to get it early in the second half. They tied the game at 30, and then they tied the game at 32 midway through the third quarter, and then their offense just disappeared. Beaufort they did a great job defensively. Mathis hit a couple of threes in the second quarter that got them back in the game. But other than that stretch, they really struggled. I think I kind of got distracted and lost count. But in the third quarter, after they tied the game at 32, they had the ball 5 times with a chance to take the lead and couldn't score. And then Buford built the lead back up. And then for much of the fourth quarter, it was a 5-point game, a 7-point game, a 9-point game. They couldn't get it to double figures. Creek couldn't get it to a one possession game. Just a really nobody could really get a lot going on either end on offense consistently.
Right. Gotcha. Rob Benson had joined us, but he has now disappeared. So I don't know what happened there. But Creek's kind of been. I mean, they're 0-5 now in region, right? Like they're it's sliding a little bit. Did you feel like? Did you get any feeling that their wheels are coming off, or they just couldn't quite put it in the bucket tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it really, it did not, it didn't look like we're not playing well because we lost a couple of games. They really struggled offensively.
Yeah.
They just couldn't make shots from the perimeter, with the exception of Mathis knocking down. I think he hit 3 in the first half. And then other than that, I can't remember anybody really knocking down anything from the perimeter at all. They had open look after open look after open look with some of the guys they want taking them, and they couldn't finish. And then when they got it in the interior, they didn't finish inside, and they struggled from the free throw line as well. Buford got 2 techs for taunting. One in a really bad spot. I think that would have given them a chance to cut the lead to 5 with the ball, and they missed both free throws. And just every time they had an opportunity to get themselves really back in the game and really put some pressure on Buford, Buford's defense stepped up, or they missed an easy opportunity. So it was a great win for Buford, to go on the road and get a 10-point win, and it's kind of locks them into, the worst they can do now is finish in third. And if they can go beat somebody, beat North Charleston, maybe they can move up and steal a home game in the playoffs. Right. And obviously Creek now needs, basically to win out if they want to do anything other than finish fourth.
Yeah. Well, and fourth is possibly best case scenario, regardless, because Buford still gets to play Hanahan a couple of times.
Right.
So, yeah, Buford's in pretty good shape. They almost beat Philip Simmons the other night, man. They had him on the ropes. Were you at that one?
I wasn't at that one. That was was that what it was Tuesday night?
You were at the BA. Yeah, you went to BA Cross, right?
No, I think that was May River Bluffton.
Oh, that's right. May River Bluffton. Yeah. No, that was Buford gave him quite a game. Philip Simmons had a shot at the end.
And that really, that would have been a terrific win for Buford because Philip Simmons and North Charleston are the 2 best teams in the region, and it's not even really close. Philip Simmons should have beaten North Charleston at North Charleston, but North Charleston was able to make plays at the end of the game and finish. So for Buford, if Buford could have stolen that win against Philip Simmons, they really could have made things interesting down the stretch in the region. They obviously I didn't see that game, but they must have played really well.
They really did.
Hit a 3 at the buzzer. So.
Yeah, it looked like they were going to win it. I mean, Samari gave them the lead, and then Philip Simmons hit a 3 at the buzzer. Guy's trying to help on defense, and he left his man, and drove you crazy. But trying to make a good play and turns into a bad one. But they're playing tough, man. I'm impressed with their grittiness.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, they're definitely, there are some teams in the area who are not overachieving, but Buford is certainly one of the teams who is. Like what they're doing, I think exceeds their talent level. They're playing well. They're playing together well. They play hard always, and they're doing a really good job. Like you said, if that's what happened at the end of the Philip Simmons Buford game, the guy left his man. That's one of those things that is really. I've seen so much. I've seen 5 games this week, and just like if people would just make the easy play, just do your job. Like don't try to do something special. Don't try to do something extra. Just do what your coaches ask you to do. Do what you're capable of doing. It puts you in so much better position than when you try to do something extra.
Yeah, don't you got to stay within yourself in those big moments, and don't try to be something that you're not because it's a big moment. Like, you're still whoever you are all the time. Like, and so yeah, it was, it was a well-designed play. They threw it inside, and he just reacted and started to go help, and then by the time he realized what was happening, open in the corner. So it was perfect play design, and they got him to bite, and he found the open man. But yeah, it was tough. It was tough to watch. Painful to watch, because man, they really did play their hearts out and had a shot to pull that one out. Samari went crazy in the second half to get him back in it, and the Blackman kid played phenomenally inside. He's been really good lately. So I wouldn't want to play them. They're not fun to play at all. They're, you talk about missing a lot of shots, but they seems like everybody misses a lot of shots against them. They just kind of make you miserable on defense. So I like that team. I like May River too, but they lost tonight. Lucy Beckham 57-38. I know you really like them.
Yeah, that's the thing that is so difficult to gauge for moving forward is, when you were playing, teams in the area, teams that teams that you are very familiar with, it's not necessarily indicative of what happens when you get outside of the area, play teams that you're not familiar with. And this was such a quick turnaround. May River beat Lucy Beckham at home less than a week ago, and then they go on the road, and it sounds like it was a 20-point game. And that's the thing is, May River is terrific at running their stuff. Very, very good at making it hard on you defensively. But if they have defensive breakdowns and teams get into the 50s, I wonder how they're going to do against somebody who can consistently score.
Yeah, because they have to kind of hold you in the 40s and play it in the 40s. And I'll also say, to piggyback on what you said there, Whitmore is a really, really good tactician and game planner. So like, when he knows the team well, and he knows how to game plan for them, and the guys buy in and they execute it well, they're really good, like you said, against teams they're familiar with. They're also going to struggle when they see bigs, because they just don't have a lot of size. They've got a lot of really nice players, but it's a lot of guards,
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Obviously I haven't seen a box score from tonight, but I know Lucy Beckham has a talented post player, and I wonder how much of their offensive success was based on getting the ball inside to him, or getting open shots because you have to honor him.
Let's see. Huber, number 3, scored 14, and Gear, number 1, scored 13. Those were the big guys. Smith, number 11, had 11. I thought the big was 44, is what somebody had said, or 55, but he didn't do that much.
That it sounds he probably would be wearing a number like
55 only scored 4, so they did a good job on him, but maybe Beckham just hit shots tonight.
Well, traditionally that is what Beckham does.
Yeah, they're shooters. They work inside out and they like to shoot it. So I'm guessing the guards just made shots they didn't make last time. Home rims, helps.
Well, that's really the thing with high school basketball is, playing a game like that where you play the same team twice in a week. I think, how many times have we seen that in the area? Like Buford and May River played back-to-back games, and they split. Buford
and the home team wins each. That's what you expect to happen if teams are evenly matched. If they play a home and home, you generally expect them to split. That's kind of the expectation, because it's like, a good 3 to 5 point swing. So if they're fairly evenly matched, the home court should kind of take care of it. But I haven't seen a James Island Carleton boys score yet. That was the one I was looking for, because that one's interesting, to see if Carleton can get back on track after getting house by Lucy Beckham the other night. Girls side, Bluffton beat Hilton Head 51-35. James Island over Colleton County 57-35. Lucy Beckham over May River 55-32. Beaufort 35-34 over Battery Creek. Hilton Head Christian 69-50 over JP2. Colleton Prep 52-33 over Beaufort Academy. That's a good win for Coach Belinda and crew. And then boys side, Hilton Head 60-42 over Bluffton. What do you think about that, Nate?
That's a surprise. I would not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked an 18-point game either way.
Right.
So, and the game was at Hilton Head, I assume.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, you get some wild stuff happening at Hilton Head occasionally.
It's true.
Not the easiest place to play. So.
No, it's not. We've talked about that a decent amount this year. Wes and I both agree with that. So I'm interested in your perspective on that. It's like it's dark. It's old. Like it just. I don't know. There's something about it that makes it feel like not a friendly environment for visitors. But I can't put my finger on it.
For sure. Like I don't know. What happened tonight, because I would imagine in a Bluffton Hilton Head game, that's such a rivalry game, there would be no shortage of motivation on both sides. What I ran into at Beaufort, when I was there for my 3 years, is there was always a shortage of motivation for our guys when we played at Hilton Head.
Really?
We were able to win 2 out of 3, but both of them were fourth quarter rallies. The first year we were down 18 going into the fourth quarter and scored 41 points in the fourth quarter. So it took us a while to realize that if we didn't play, we were going to lose.
Wow. What do you attribute that to? Why weren't they pumped up for that one? I thought Beaufort hated Hilton Head and wanted to be.
I don't know that one was, we were down 18 and scored 41. That was my first year, and Otis McLean and Adonis Grant just went nuts in the fourth quarter. That was like Adonis had been hurt most of the season, but he came out and I think he scored 23 points in the fourth quarter. That season would have been totally different if Adonis had not missed half of it.
Yeah.
So, and that put us in such a bad spot.
That's in my blind spot. That's when I was at USCB.
Yeah, because we struggled without him. We ended up having to go on the road and play John Morant in the playoffs. So that didn't go great. I mean, actually, we really played really well. And then in the last minute, Ja decided that they weren't going to lose, and so they did.
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably interesting. What school was he at?
He was at Crestwood in Sumter.
That's right.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I get my Sumter schools mixed up all the time. The lakes and the woods.
Yeah, Lakewood, and Crestwood, and Sumter. Yeah. And so
then there's Lake View up there too. It's like,
yeah,
I get all confused. But let's see. What else you want to talk about, Nate? Who else you saw BA Cross the other night? BA boys struggled to put away Cross.
Yeah, it was really an interesting game. Cross led much of the first half. Beaufort was able to take the lead late in the second quarter, and then extended their lead out to 25 in the third quarter. They went on a 15-0 run, and were in complete control of the game. And then they decided to clear the bench during the third quarter. And Cross went on like a little 11-2 run to cut the lead to 16. And then when they came back out in the fourth quarter, Cross continued to cut into the lead. And it was a 8-point game with about a minute 15 left. And Beaufort Academy had a guard pick up his fourth foul and not agree with the call, and so he picked up his fifth foul when he got a tech. So Cross got 4 free throws, down 8 with a minute 15 left. They missed 3 of 4, but they still cut the lead to 7 and had the ball. Got fouled again, so had a chance to go to the free throw line and missed 2 more free throws. So they missed 5 of 6 in about 20 seconds. with a chance to cut the lead from 8-3, and then Buford Academy finished them off. So, Buford Academy clearly, superior talent, superior size, but they, for big stretches of the game, Cross was able to outplay them. But there was a 4 or 5 minute stretch where Buford was probably plus 17 or 18, and that was the difference in the game.
Well, Buford didn't fool around tonight against Colleton Prep, 81-34. They didn't mess around this time.
Yeah,
Robbie B's back.
I would imagine they wouldn't do that. So,
Robbie B, you're back. You appeared and then disappeared. What's up, buddy? You in? We don't know what's going on with Rob. There he is.
What do you want? What do you want, Justin?
What do you want? Tell us what's happening. Where were you tonight? You were in the reef.
I was knee deep in pluff mud.
Deep in pluff mud in the reef. And I heard the Cross girls took care of Hilton Head Prep.
Yeah, man, it was a behind the woodshed sort of experience. They came out, schemed for Courtney very well. I had thought for the better part of a week or two that so effectively PJ, who is Cross's point guard, is H2's 2027 point guard. And she's sort of Courtney light right now,
Right. Yeah.
And I think there was never really an expectation that they were going to go head up on each other too much because she runs a lot of minutes for Cross, so they don't tend to put her on the best players on the other team. Right. They save her for offense and to run the show. We just didn't think that there would be much one-on-one PJ Courtney action, and honestly, there was a lot of it. They did a lot of like rolling box and one stuff, but a lot of it wasn't really needed. But when Courtney would spin out, there'd always be another kid there, and it was out of hand very early. And I think I think Courtney ended up with like 12, and 5 or 6 of those came in the fourth, late when they'd pulled kids. So
wow.
Cross looked good, man. Now Prep also had like 5 kids who are out. I don't know where they are in the relative overalls of the lineup, right?
Right.
Maybe there's a contributor here and there, but from what I understand, they had most of their impact kids. So Cross just kind of has more. They also credit to Fish, he had a very nice scheme tonight where effectively, to say they keyed on Courtney and were physical with her would be an understatement.
All right. Well, interesting W. Nate Livesey, do you need to bail?
No, I'm good. I can stay as long as
all right, cool. Just making sure. So Robbie, we'll fill you in on some of what's been going on elsewhere tonight. After we shout out some varsity sponsors, we have DDS Web Design, building, hosting, and maintaining websites that get results. So if you want to get found online and do more for your business or organization, call on DDS at ddshhi.com. Parker Law Group, serving legal needs across Jasper, Hampton, and Colleton counties, and jumping on board to help us continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes. Reverence Wrestling Club, the presenting sponsor of the Lowco Grind, Sunday night at 10 p.m., talking wrestling in the Lowco and other combat sports as wrestling season winds down here in a couple of weeks. And also Rooted Living Wellness, Dr. Ambrose Cole, best chiropractor I know. He will get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. And I need to go see him about this crackly shoulder. Those are the varsity sponsors of Lowco Sports. Robbie, did you see any scores tonight?
I saw some of the girls' scores. I didn't see who ended up winning the HHC JP2 boys game. I know that was
HHCA did, despite playing the dregs of the roster. Guys, they literally brought one back from the school musical He was out. He was focusing on the school musical, and he came back tonight and
He's a
played minutes.
talented singer and dancer, my friend.
He is that.
He is.
Isaiah Anderson had 18. He went in the back and threw up at one point in the first quarter, but I think it might have been not
so that's
like
going
flu
around.
related.
Yeah,
I don't think it was flu related. I think it was hit in a bad spot related. One of my baseball players pointed that out to me. Alex Epstein and Ethan Foster each had 13. They both played really, really well. I mean, stepped up big time. And then Elijah had 12, including a bunch late. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them in the fourth quarter. He really took over late. DJ ended up getting hurt. So they literally were down to Ethan, Elijah, Isaiah, Alex Epstein, Connor White, and Tyler Borak. And 3 of those guys had 4 fouls, and 2 of them had 3 fouls. Like, it was getting seriously close to only one guy can or like they were gonna play with 4 guys, like not have 5 guys.
I mean,
who didn't
obviously
have 5 fouls.
It
was seriously close.
they've been through a lot this season, that program, and to have a win like that on the
it was huge.
Yeah, to have
it was a big win, man.
Yeah, I think so too. That's a really nice win for Christian, especially on the heels of what's been a wild week over there. So, I mean, good to see Foster getting minutes and doing well with him. He's a talented kid. I know he played very well this past summer on the circuit all over the darn place. And then, Epstein, is it?
Yeah. He was a dude tonight. He got after
he's been playing better and better every week, man. I don't know where he came from or like what his story is, but he is actually a capable kid in this area. And
he's a good little baseball player too. He's just a good athlete.
Oh, see, that makes sense. He looks like he could probably be a nice baseball player, but yeah, definitely athletic. And, he gets out there and goes hard and knows exactly what they're trying to get done. And, I mean, Christian is a talented squad and is maybe the most talented squad all year long that has just been mired in controversy and just odd chemistry things, but it's never been a matter of, they have the Jimmies and the Joes. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is where you get to see a little of their depth. I mean, that bodes well too when you're talking about a kid like Foster playing that well, and Harry as well, even though he wasn't necessarily part of it tonight.
No, he was out sick as a dog tonight.
Yeah. So I mean, now you're in that, but you're in that situation where you have a couple of guards you can lean on moving forward potentially. So that's a nice thing for them, and that's a good win for them. I heard about the girls' game. I heard Devin went nuts. Yeah. Maya and Devin, I guess. How many did JP2 score total?
It was 69-50, and Maya and Devin had 31 and 27, so they had 58.
Ooh.
Had 58, yeah.
Yeah. So,
they couldn't.
I heard Mahoney was really good.
They couldn't stay in front of him. Mahoney was very good. She had 21. I don't know how many boards yet, but it was a bunch.
Yeah, I heard she played very well.
Really was. Here, I've got it. She had. I guess they adjusted the scorebook. She had 19 and 12, and Savannah Trott had 12 and 6. They really did. They played them tough. They played them tough all the way to the fourth. It was It was about a 10-point game most of the first half. I think they got it out to even like 13 or something. I think they were up 10 at half. And then JP2 really rallied in the third, got it back to like 2 for a minute. And then they got it back out to 9 going to the fourth. And then Devin just ate. I mean, she started hitting from everywhere and just making some sick dishes and finds. Whoever number 5 is, I don't even know her name. But she finished like 3 in a row where Devin just threaded needles to her on the break. And
nice.
And then Devin put a sick move on, unfortunately, after I stopped filming, where she like jab stepped and the girl went all the way to her shoulder on the floor. And Dev, when jab step stopped and slid it back to Maya at the block for a layup, and it was like, woo! Everybody in the gym, oh. Oh, it was Devin was feeling it in the fourth quarter. It was fun to watch.
Well, there you go. What's happening around the public schools?
So on the girls' side, Bluffton beats Hilton Head. My thing's not working. Marcus Walsh will be in shortly to tell us about that. Bluffton beat Hilton Head 51-35. Okay. James Island beat Colleton 57-35. Lucy Beckham beat May River 55-32.
Literally scrolling across the screen, Justin.
It is. Buford 35-34 over Battery Creek.
That was wild. That was a humdinger of a game.
It was. Nate told us about it earlier.
Close.
Buford was way up and then let them back. And then Battery Creek had 2 free throws for the lead and missed them both. And then Buford got 2 free throws for the win and made 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how it wrapped. And possibly Javon and Tristan stopping by to tell us more about that. Other girls scores, Hampton lost to Woodland 39-33. We told you about JP2. Coach Belinda beat Buford Academy 52-33. And I don't know the final.
Coach Belinda, man. So Cross played Coach Belinda last week. And Cross, I will call that game the experimental phase because essentially they decided not to press any of the game. They played just half court man the entire time, essentially, and then relied on playing half court with no easy run out buckets and things like that. And when you play in that environment and you sort of neutralize athletes, you see what a great coach she is.
Yeah.
She's a wonderful coach. I mean, they still got throttled, but it was only a
9-point game.
Yeah, I mean, it was well, yeah,
but not really.
If they had pressed, it would have been another one of those 30 or 40s. But it definitely is the way I mean, whether it was Patrick Henry or whether it's now up there at Colleton Prep, they run a pretty tight ship offensively, and they're rolling kids at the rim. And trying to get them in positions that are going to be easier for them to get buckets. I don't think they expect to have kids who are going to bang threes on you or do any of that kind of stuff. So it's always like,
get it as close to the rim as possible.
Yeah. So they're always, and there's a lot of high-low action, right? They're going from
it's fun.
They're
it's
going
good
from the
schematic basketball. I love it.
Yeah. Elbows to the blocks, if you zone them up.
She's a great coach. She's a great volleyball coach too. What's that?
Oh, is that right?
So I'm going to insert myself here with the questions because I don't see a ton of girls basketball games, but you guys do. So does anyone in the girls realm actually set screens, since I don't see a lot of screens in the boys games?
I think the teams with point guards, the elite point guards do. And if Prep has not a tremendous talent base right now, but Courtney's very good. So they're just effectively, that's a little harem scarum. They try to set screens for her to kind of initiate everything. But that's hit or miss. I'm not really sure what Bluffton's doing. Christian's always got some screens thrown in on stuff, but they run a lot of sets and they run for a lot of corner threes and things of that
nature. Bluffton screens.
Cross screens.
They got 2 nice bigs who know what they're doing.
Cross screens. They bring out Maldonado for PJ and try to get PJ able to make decisions with numbers.
That's really, I've watched, 4 high school basketball games this week. And if you take out ball screens, if you take out, the high ball screen or the horns, the 2 high ball screens, I can't remember. I've probably seen more illegal screens than I have staggered screens or down
successful
screens or pin screens. Like does anybody attempt to screen?
I think if you're going to see a screen, it's almost exclusively going to be a ball screen for a squad that's got a point guard. I mean, around here, the IQ is such that there's not even the, just the immediate basketball IQ or sense to go set a screen for whoever you pass to, or set a screen away, or even to just cut through and go backside or whatever, create spacing. So yeah, you're not going to get like a lot of back screens. You're not, you don't have kids running slips and things like that. And you know what I mean? It's a very basic sort of look, like, and even PNR stuff. There's not many teams on the girls' side that really have a big and a point guard.
Right. That's the thing that, just watching May River Bluffton, as much as I was impressed with the way May River guards controlled the game. And they do a good job of screening. They set lots of screens. I shouldn't say that nobody sets screens. Yeah. But the thing that's frustrating with May River, I probably could go back and look every time I've watched a May River game. I tweet the same thing. They run that action where they have the kind of the back screen where they have the guy cutting for a layup, and then they have the down screen after that. And there's 3 or 4 times a game where they have a cutter coming open for a layup, wide open, but the man who catches the pass is not looking at the player he's supposed to be looking at. And so they don't throw it to him for a layup. And I'm just like,
and instead they miss a mid-range jumper.
Well, I think the one that I contemplated that just really, like, Whitmore had to be losing his mind is the guy caught it. He wasn't looking at the wide open guy for a layup, so he reversed it to the second option, who caught the ball and had a wide open lane to the layup to the basket, and he drove it and missed a layup. And I'm just like, as a coach, what do you do if your first option is wide open and they don't throw it to him, and then your second option works exactly like it's supposed to, and you miss a layup?
Well, and Whitmore's always losing his mind, regardless. So
yeah,
he definitely was losing his mind in that moment. I love Whitmore, but man, he is so emotional. It cracks me up.
Oh,
what'd you say, Robbie?
I was looking at Bridges Prep Bamberg. Do we not have a girl score there? Because last time wasn't that like 82 to 2 or something?
Yeah, something along those lines. I haven't seen that one. I don't think Bridges Prep's going to be eager to post it. But I'll make another pass through Max Preps here shortly and see what we can find. But other girls or other guys' games, Hilton Head putting it on Bluffton by 18. That's very interesting. We'll hopefully get to talk to Marcus Walsh here shortly. Not sure where he is. He says be on soon, but that was soon ago. We're waiting on him. Wes is down sick. He couldn't go tonight. He had to sit this one out. Him and Harry Skinner.
Academy's back. They had what happened? They have sickness all last week or something? Does anyone know?
I don't know. Nate was at that cross game. I think it was just janky. Like they took the starters out and Cross made a run, and then they put them back in, and like Cross kept making a run, and it just got weird for a minute.
Huh.
That's basically what Nate said. I don't know if they're down people, but they killed Carlton Prep tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is I was wondering if there was kids out.
I don't know.
I'm not 1,000% familiar with BA, but it looked like they had a full roster.
Gotcha.
They didn't seem to be real locked in at the beginning of the game. And then, like I said, they opened up a 25-point lead in the third quarter, and they kind of shut it down.
There you go.
52-33 is a pretty good win for Belinda. They walloped BA.
That's solid. I mean, you knew she was going to have a good game plan for Kamira, and if you can shut her down, then they struggle to score.
Yeah, so that's the same way with Prep. That's he's like one good kiditis. It's a disease.
Darius hasn't posted the score yet for Bridges at Bamberg, which doesn't bode well for the Bucks. He's usually quick with it if they win. He was Johnny on the spot when they beat Bethune-Bowman the other night. So I'm guessing maybe that's a good sign for
Ridgeland Hardyville playing.
Bamberg. I think they were off tonight.
Off tonight.
Yeah, Hampton boys won though. They beat Woodland 69-53. That's a solid win because Woodland's pesky. They're always
they are
a problem.
May River girls play.
Yeah, they got walloped.
Oh, here it is. Lucy Beckman got him.
Yeah, got him good.
Yeah,
got him good. But what else? Sorry, looking for other scores. What else? What else you want to talk about?
Well,
tell me more.
Quickly looking ahead to next year. That 2A region with Well Branch, Hampton, and Bridges will be an interesting set of games.
You got Barnwell in there as well. That's a fun region. And Edisto's in there too.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you just get those small schools. You just get such wild environments. You really never know what you're going to see. Like the Bridges Well Branch game on Monday. Like, I mean, I show up like in the middle of the girls' game, and there's nowhere. Like, there's nowhere to stand. Like, I have to fortunately, it's good to know people. I just go stand somewhere, and Jim Raymond finds a chair for me, and he's like, "Here, let's sit here." And I'm just like, I think we're like committing like some fire code violations sitting here.
I bring my stool. Stool and just plop down by the cheerleaders.
Yeah. So,
but no, it was packed, and that game was bananas.
Yeah, I mean, it was completely out of control the whole game. I mean, there was half dozen technicals, full court.
Well, we had a ref who decided he was going to be the star of the show that night.
Well, I don't know how to phrase this exactly. I can't remember which night it was, but like when you see the same ref doing a varsity public school game and a JV Skisa game, you know that like somebody maybe made like an assignment error.
Well, he was the only one calling anything, but he was calling enough for everybody.
That's Jim and I were talking about. Like somebody needs to we need the advanced stats on like what percentage of calls, like they do the NBA refs, they can tell you which percentage of calls they got right, which percentage of calls they should have called that they didn't. I was like, I'd just like to know like which percentage of calls that guy made where he was actually enforcing a real basketball rule.
Right.
So I've seen probably like
including 3 technicals for. I didn't see like any kind of excessive celebration after made baskets, just getting excited, going back up the court, teeing them up. I'm like,
yeah, those were awful. Those were absolutely because he ejected the one kid for Bridges, right?
Yeah, he did, and that was a critical player too,
right?
Which he fouled out in the first half against Whale Branch last year because Darius didn't know how many fouls he had. Because it is a chaos environment in there, man. And the scoreboard doesn't have the fouls on it. So, it's nutty in that gym.
This is something I've noticed this year with the change of the rule, right? When you go to 5 team fouls and you go to automatic 2 shots per quarter.
The refs screw it up.
I mean, man, I've seen I've seen more quarters that are 5-0. It doesn't even matter which team. I'm not like calling them out one way or another. I'm saying like 5. It's not 3-2, 2-1, 4-3. It's like 5-0 consistently. And so
I've seen more than once where they didn't shoot free throws on the 6th foul.
Yeah, that's right too. And what's also crazy is that like it does change strategy a little bit, right?
It does.
So, like as a parent of a guard, I'm at 4th foul. It's like, look, get a foot in the paint. It's time to go to the line and collect a couple easy buckets. So what's weird
to me is that men's college basketball is like the only place where we're still doing halves instead of quarters and different fouls. It's so weird. I don't know when
it is weird.
That will come along.
That's definitely weird. It still might be my favorite of all the platforms, though. It's just sort of interesting. in some ways.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the new rule. I love the 1-and-1. I think it's a great medium
I do too,
resolution
honestly.
there for fouls that don't really impact the play. Like it's nice that when you get that stupid bump 60 feet from the basket that could or could not be a foul, that if it has to be free throws, at least you have to earn the second one. So, but
I like what you said about not impacting the play, because that's something that Drafts and I were talking about on the USCB broadcast the other night, about how we've noticed that the Peach Belt officials, which you can say what you want about them, and there's plenty of people who have a lot to say about them, especially opposing coaches at USCB. But one thing we've really noticed is that they wait to see if it impacted the play before they call a foul. A lot of times they'll wait, and if the shot goes down, they don't call it if it's a marginal foul, because it didn't really impact the play. And I've noticed that significantly. Same thing on like a bump on the baseline. If you bump them out of bounds, you're getting called. But if you give them the baseline, you can get away with some contact. So just interesting to see how the higher level officials call things versus.
And now on the lower level of things, here's a really disturbing trend. In girls basketball, good players
don't get foul calls. They get hammered.
Yeah, and despite their dominance, they get called for real basketball rules violations. Meanwhile, girls who can't play and palm it every single time, it's like, it's okay. It's all right.
Okay.
Like, let them break every
Bless your
rule.
heart. Bless your heart, sweetie.
Yeah, like, that's so good of you to come out for basketball this year.
It's even worse for big kids, for high school post players. Like if you have a legitimate like back to the basket post player with a big physical body, the amount of contact it takes to get a foul called against them and the amount of contact it takes to get a call for them are two totally different games.
Amen. That's true. Well, hey, fellas, we do have Marcus Walsh joining us to tell us about what happened in the nest. So let's get him in here. Woo. What's up, buddy?
What's
Long
up?
night in the nest, huh?
It was. That's what happens when you end up finding that you have to create 3/5 of your broadcast team kind of on the fly. It
Out of thin air.
Seems like the flu's kind of going around.
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah, it hit Wes and it hit Kevin.
That and RSV and strep and everything else.
So yeah, long night, tearing stuff down and whatnot. But I tell you what, couple of really competitive games, despite the scores being a little bit lopsided. The games were much more competitive than the scores will indicate. The girls of Bluffton continue their dominance, 18-1 on the year, 6-0 in region play. Takoya Hayward, Jelena Mosley, and company are just doing outstanding things again this year as they beat Hilton Head 51-35. They play quick, but it is very crisp. It's very deliberate. And Lonnie Roberts, in what is going to be his final year at Bluffton, is continuing to do really, really great things with that program. I mean, Hayward and Mosley and Amaya Brown as well. She was all over the place tonight. Maddie Washington was effective, and particularly inside, wreaking some havoc. Just really good play from Bluffton. And I mean, Hilton Head played really well, played hard. You've got Deja Godson and certainly Emily Pfister, and then Aaliyah Jackson as well. And Daniel Godson brought in, great insight once again. He obviously has a little bit of extra info and whatnot when it comes to Hilton Head because Deja's on the team. And it was just a really, really well played game despite some of the scores. Bluffton led 17-13 at the end of one. They led 31-20 at half. They led 43-31 at the end of three, and they ended up winning 51-35. And really, I don't think there was really ever a time where they didn't lead. I think they led from tip to the end of the game. But I'm really impressed with the way that Coach Wisniewski has his girls playing hard. Despite the record, they're not going to give up and just fold. They're going to come out and give you their best with everything that they have against anybody. And they took one on the chin against and I said it on the broadcast tonight. Just from my estimation, I haven't seen James Island play, but I think they're probably, from the little bit that I've read and what I hear, especially from you guys, I think they're probably the second best girls team in the area. I think Bluffton
I think Lucy Beckham is actually a little stronger than James Island. Yeah, I think they beat them head up. So, but they're James Island's solid. They're solid.
Yeah, without question. And they ended up beating them by 20. And I mean, they had, a bunch of players putting in buckets and that type of thing. But it's definitely a new time for Hilton Head. It kind of looks like with some players that are going to be heading out and that type of thing. But I'm very impressed with the grit of this Hilton Head team for sure. Bluffton's really, really strong. And then on the guys' side, Hilton Head just came out. They came out to, and Red Bruin called that game with me, the guys' game. I actually had Larry Jacomot do the fourth quarter with me of the girls' game, so I kind of put him to a little bit of extra work. It was fun. The guys' game, Hilton Head got out, and the crowd was just erupting from the tip. They got out to a 10-2 run. And Red said it. If he said it once, he said it about 1,000 times. Hilton Head did an outstanding job with offensive rebounds. It seemed like every opportunity they were going and they were getting a board. They led with that 10-2 early run. They ended up leading, they ended up leading 17-9 at the end of one quarter of play. Bluffton made a little bit of a spurt to come back, get back into the game. They actually got it to single digits at halftime with a late jumper that went down. They trailed. Bluffton did 24-18 at the end of two. At the end of three, I believe it was 41-28 Hilton Head, either 41-28 or 41-29. And the final score was 60-42. John O'Gorman was a big factor. And these guys, especially on the guys' side too, they can move everywhere. It's crisp, clean passing. They can shoot inside. They can shoot outside. They can be effective with second, third, fourth chance opportunities. They can literally do just about everything on the floor. Bowman, I don't think, was quite as effective as I saw him against May River last week. But I tell you what, number 5, good grief. His name's escaping me for the moment. Tyrese Wright. Goodness gracious. He ended up being our player that we interviewed along with Shane Brown at the end of the game. He was doing everything, getting into, outside game. The shots were just silky smooth from the outside. He was really doing a nice job inside too, and just being a menace. And that's the one thing that I'll say with the guys and girls, all 4 of these teams, and so many of these teams that we see on the day-to-day, they're just menacing. And when they want to be tenacious and they really want to get after it, I mean, they do. And it's really competitive and really fun stuff to watch. On the side of Bluffton, they had several opportunities. I was really impressed with Jamari Stewart Manning tonight. He did a really nice job. There were plenty of others. Khalil Chaplin, had some huge shots from the outside, especially towards the later part of the game. Micah Hamilton was effective early, and there was a name that we didn't get until like the third quarter of action, but Elijah Creighton, number 12 for Bluffton, coming off the bench. We only knew Elijah, and that was courtesy of Tony. And he said, I coached this kid. I can't remember his last name, but I coached him. And
relatable.
Larry had to do some digging and whatnot, and we found it. And he even had some great stuff too. all these players that I see week to week, and now I've done 3 matchups. I've done Hilton Head Prep, Hilton Head Christian Academy. I've done Hilton Head and May River, and then I've done Bluffton and Hilton Head, and we'll have Bridges Prep and Whale Branch on February 7th to round out our season schedule. All of these players literally can do just about everything, and that makes for, whether it's a game within 10 points or something that's a little bit outstretched, it makes for competitive basketball no matter what the score is. And the thing that I really like seeing too, especially with these first few games, and I'm sure it'll be the same with the Whale Branch Bridges Prep game that we have at Whale Branch, is that these players are so close with one another. Before the girls' game, Linda Young comes out, and of course she's, recovering from the ACL and whatnot, and all of the Bluffton players just surrounded her just to check in on her, make sure she was doing okay. Coach Godson, told me on air as well, again, about Leah Jackson and the fact that she's recovering from an ACL injury that she had a while back. And she is playing really well, again, noticing the brace on her leg, but she gets after it and plays really well. And
she's been really good this year.
Oh, phenomenal. And it's great to see all of these players doing these things in these environments, and to have, the support of, the fans and families that we talk about. And, I've really tried to get more of an inside cue on what's going on with the players and coaches and that type of stuff from other people like Daniel Godson, like Jerry Faulkner, like Tony, and others as well. And it's been really fun to be able to chronicle it, both with WHHI and you guys, of course.
Yeah, man.
Couple
Who you got next?
Matchups. We actually have, like I said, we've got a couple of weeks off. Essentially, It's a little bit less than 2 weeks, but we were able to cue in 8 games. So it's 4 guys games, 4 girls games. And I said from the get-go, the one team and the one matchup because of it that I really had my eye on, that I only saw, once in doing basketball on WHHI, was Whale Branch. We've got Bridges at Whale Branch on February 7th. And I'm very, very excited to help ring in the first year back in the Lowco for one Jeremiah Faber, because I called his games back when he was at Ridgeland Hardyville, and it was Ridgeland Hardyville back then. And
but he's been there at Jasper County and Ridgeland Hardyville, and then Ridgeland, and then Ridgeland Hardyville again, and then
little bit of everywhere and whatnot. But his acumen is just tremendous for sure. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'll tell you this too, and I had a chance to see the interview that you guys, I was on that night when you guys had Bradley Gabriel on. I don't think I had a chance to talk to him, but going over his career and some of the numbers and his mantra, and finding out that not only was he a basketball star, but he was a football star, quarterback, defensive back, finding all this out tonight, courtesy of Larry and Red. I mean, he's a guy that is going to change how Bluffton's been run the last few years, because we even mentioned it. And I mean, nothing at all against, Woody Melton and some of the other guys over the last couple of years that have coached Bluffton in terms of the guys team. They haven't been the same since Michael II left. They just haven't. And I think that it will take a little bit of time, but look out for the Bluffton guys, because I think Bradley Gabriel is not taking no for an answer, and he's going to have that team ready to go. There's no doubt about it. We know that about Lonnie Roberts and what he's done at Bluffton. We know that about Shane Brown and Russell Wisniewski as well. I was really impressed with the information that I found out about Bradley this week, and really looking forward to calling a lot of the games during his career in Bluffton, and hopefully he's here for a while.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, we appreciate you hopping in and giving us an update, and enjoy your time off. Let us know if you're going to be out in the gym, and we'll get you in here for a report.
Yeah, sounds good. definitely looking forward to having a few little extra days off.
Yeah, I'm sure Miss Sam's looking forward to that too. She doesn't have to go sit and knit in a gym somewhere.
It's true.
See you, brother. Take care.
See you guys. Thanks so much.
Marcus Walsh, WHHI TV. All right, let's shout out a couple of other things before we get out of here. Sorry, I'm running out of steam. Been up since early this morning. Lowco Booster Club. That's where we are. Clear my wrestling coach throat. Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Court. They would love to help you come home to the Low Country. They're Low Country natives selling the Lowco lifestyle on Hilton Head Island. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. Chris Odom will get your floors so clean that your feet will thank you. And he's a great dude to boot. Prime IV Hydration and Wellness, now open in Belfair Town Village. Go see Max and the gang and get juiced up. Eagle Creations, great place for your custom apparel, your promotional items, and your Proudly Southern custom gift baskets. Go see Bill and Mandy on Argent Boulevard. Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. Great place for spicy conversation. Some great Al Pastor tacos either way. I got horchata on the right if you're into that. If they're out in the street, that's the sign. Go get you some tacos. But this is about Jay's Barbershop. And finally, Revive Rehab Pelvic Floor Physical Therapy. Ladies or dudes, if you have some function that you've lost down there, they can help you out with pelvic floor physical therapy at Revive Rehab. And Robbie and Nate, who are the best basketball players you saw tonight? Rob, you get to be biased here if you want to. Tonight? Yeah. Who played the best tonight that you saw? Who are your players of the night?
Well, I mean, I only saw the Cross Girls game, and they blew out. I mean, it's hard to say anyone's better than Courtney.
Did the Cross guys play?
They did not.
They play varsity opponent tonight? They didn't.
They did not. Well, no. Doc was there all night long, so.
Varsity opponent was on the schedule, but I didn't know if they actually played him or not. Varsity opponent sometimes has packed it in by this point in the season. They don't have enough players anymore.
There's several varsity opponents out there this year, and
I know,
and many of them are definitely not well-oiled machines, but they're well manned. I mean, they have like full benches and everything.
Really?
Yeah. Played one called the Southeast Homeschool Phoenix.
Right. Well, varsity opponent on the boys'
which
side,
is varsity
Max Preps, they're 304, 1,178 and 1. So they're having a rough year on the boys' side. I'll check how varsity opponent's doing on the girls' side.
That is tough.
I love that there's a running record for all the varsity opponents all link up. And
they should have a tournament at the end of the year.
The varsity opponent national champion.
Yeah. I'm game.
On the girls' side,
we could have that. We could have Marcus come in and call that non-varsity opponent tournament.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Well,
Marcus and Johnson.
Looking at Max Preps, we have some local schools that should schedule more varsity opponents.
Yeah, we do. Royal Live Oaks, for example, should load up on varsity opponent in the preseason. That seems like a no-brainer.
Come on, I was trying not to name names, Justin.
Well, they just don't play any non-region, but they should play some non-region against varsity opponent and get some confidence and some dubs.
That's actually, I was listening to Marcus talk about Hilton Head, and I was just thinking, like scheduling of games is so important. I don't think I think you can tell when coaches schedule and when athletic director schedules. Obviously you don't know for sure, but like it seems to me that Hilton Head in particular bit off a bit more than they could chew with their non-conference scheduling. And it when you take 4, 6, 8 losses in non-region games before you get started, sometimes the tough schedule can really build you and make you better, but other times it leaves you being 5-15 and
right.
better.
You need to have some success.
Than your record.
you want to test yourself, but not so much that you just beat yourself down. Beat yourself up and beat yourself down, both, and kill your morale and your confidence. Like kids are,
I mean,
they're still
it
teenagers.
goes
Like
both ways though. Like,
yeah,
because
it does.
if you look at the Hilton Head
underscheduling is just as bad.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
if you
100%. It's a
if you look at
delicate
the Hilton Head
balance.
Christian girls, like they JP2 tonight, and they're playing Brunswick at home tomorrow. Or
Yeah.
and so they haven't ducked anyone. They've played a borderline academy schedule this season, with only really 3 kids that score ever.
Right.
And so it's been murderer's row for them, and they might be like 9-6 or 10-7 or something right now.
Right.
Which is the
Yeah.
worst that they've been in 8 years, probably
Right.
7 years.
Sure.
But it's been by far the most productive thing for the athletes that they
10 and
do have.
6. 10
Okay.
and 6.
Yeah,
man.
and
I don't know that they lost
can't-
6 games combined in like the last 4 years.
No,
Right.
and it's perfect for what they need right
It's
now.
good.
What they
Yeah.
Exactly.
need
Every
is
team is different. Every year is different. You have to schedule for the team you have that year. And if you don't, or if you load up on private school games when you know you're going to win those games, you're not prepared for the meat of your schedule. But if you load up on games you're going to get beat in, you're mentally not prepared to win when you need to.
Right. That's right. They lost 7 games in the last 4 years combined.
Yeah.
And they haven't lost this many in a long time. But you're right. This is what they needed. They lost 7 in 13-14. That was the last time they lost as many as 6
you
in
look
the
at
season.
it, you look at it from different perspectives, right? Like you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
So if you look at the cross girls, their schedule, because they're a first year varsity, because they're a Schizo 1A that legitimately plays on. I don't think they knew necessarily until late that they were going to play on roughly like a 3A level, right?
Right.
So they came in and they have a schedule that's kind of faux momentum, right? Like trying to, because they're all freshmen and sophomores at oldest, pretty much. So what they tried to do was create this forward movement, the thought process that, hey, we're a thing moving forward. And they did so by loading up on a bunch of teams that are still in their region and whatnot, but that they're beating the pants off of. So, next year they got to go look for something a little different.
Yeah, and that's why I say it really is an art. Like there's no recipe for it. Like you can't say, like everybody should do this, nobody should do this. You have to know where your program is. You have to know where your players are. You have to, like, there are public relation games that you should play, and there are games you should never play. Like, I mean, like that's like I look at people's schedules, and I'm like, there is a 0% chance that I would ever play this game. It's a no win situation. Even if you win, you lose. If you lose, you really lose. And other situations where it's the other way. You're going to win this game if you just go in and be competitive. You're going to win.
Right.
And if you were to win it, it's a huge. But it's just like those are the things that, like, if you take basketball seriously, you have to take putting your schedule together every year seriously, because you do your program a disservice if you don't.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you see, I mean, what I always talk about is, matching the energy of the program has to match the energy of the best athletes in the program, in my opinion. I mean, that's who they're sort of there to represent in a lot of ways, and they're there to represent the school as well. But I think the one fallout that I would have a problem, I do have a problem with in the area, is there's far too many schools, and not to jump on Royal Live Oaks because they have their own scheduling, like, they're doing what they do. But like May River Girls has 17 games this year, guys.
Yeah.
That's low energy.
Yeah.
And they're not very good. So I knew they knew going into the year they weren't very good. So they've just sort of like, and then of course one of their better kids has been out, I think, for like 3 games in a row now with whatever's going around. Yeah. So that doesn't make them any better. But like at the end of the day, 17 games is I mean, really? You're going to practice for 4 months for 17 games? Come on.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said there. Who only has 17 games?
May River Girls.
May River Girls.
And so did they not play in any tournaments, like, or did they just not schedule?
No, they literally played like didn't play until I want to say almost.
They were like 4-1 going into the new year.
Yeah, going into the new year. And there's a lot of programs that kind of mimic that look. And then there's some that are overly aggressive, you know, that they get the Nick Field Award of scheduling everybody who can breathe.
We might have to rename it for Doc.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Doc will get out there. He'll play whatever. But
anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
They were with May River was without Duncan again tonight.
Yeah.
They're pretty shorthanded without her. They just don't have a lot of firepower.
No. So I mean that's the thing though. 17 games. I mean, but you know, Jermaine over there is he was moved to AD, correct?
Yeah. He's interim AD and head coach, which is a lot. I mean,
a lot. So I wonder if I don't. So is he interim? Has he not been named?
No, he hasn't been named. He's just interim for this year. But
I think there's a posting for the May River AD. So
right. Okay. So I suspect he will apply for it. I mean, this was basically like a trial run for both sides. That's why they allowed him to continue coaching. Because district rule, you can't be a coach and an AD. So if he does take the job full time, he'll have to step down as basketball coach. So that's
another one, which would be another one because Lonnie, I think, is down too.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, Marcus mentioned that.
Yeah.
I guess it's been confirmed. I think we all kind of knew, like open secret, this was going to be it. But I guess people are talking about it now. So you kind of knew that he'd go out with this group. It was time. He's had a good run, and I think they got a shot to make a pretty good run. They're playing really well. But hey, fellas, we've gone deep tonight. And there for a minute before you guys showed up, it was just me talking to myself. I wasn't sure how long the show was going to last. Didn't have that many scores even, but we ended up with most of them. A couple scores that trickled in. Whale Branch girls are playing tougher. They lost 33-29 to Bowman. They beat the doors off Bridges the other night. Cross the final, by the way, Robbie, was 55-25. Cross over Hilton Head Prep. Still haven't seen Carleton County James Island boys, but we did get no, we didn't get any other boys scores. We're still waiting on Bridges Prep, Bamberg, and Carleton County James Island. So we'll try to track those down overnight, and we'll get you caught up. Monday night, I guess, on the Lowco Sports Lowdown. Sunday, we'll have Sand Track Rewind at 8 p.m. and the Lowco Grind at 10. Tomorrow, we will take the night off. I'm going to go check out some wrestling. And I'm sure, Robbie, you're going to go check out HHCA?
I think so. I'd like to go see those kids play as much as I can before they're done with their illustrious careers. But yeah, now next week, for the program, I've started to get invited to senior nights, and I'm just not really into that. Like that sounds sad to me. So so like, but
those tear jerking speeches and all that stuff.
Yeah. So I guess that's my future for the next several weeks when I'm not trucking around, watching my kid play. But
there you go.
Yeah. So.
All right, boys. Well, thanks so much for stopping by to talk hoops. Thanks as well to Marcus Walsh for jumping in with his report from the Nest. You can watch those games all week long on WHHI, Bluffton and Hilton Head. And thanks so much to our sponsors and to everybody who showed up to listen or watch. It was a great time talking hoops in the Lowco, and we'll be back Sunday night with 2 more shows, Sand Track Rewind and the Lowco Grind, and then Monday night, 10 p.m., Lowco Sports Lowdown, and Tuesday night, the Lowco Hoops Report will return. So we'll see you out there on the Lowco Media Network. For Rob Benson and Nate Livesey, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.